DTR, here we are a year later. You tear up the preseason, your rookie year, off to a great start, 14-18 against Green Bay. Take us kind of into that game and how you were feeling going in and how you felt coming out.
Yeah, I would like to say I felt a lot more comfortable than I did last year. Just being able to get around the building, get around the guys again at practice, OTAs, got a little few reps there. And then coming into training camp, kind of easing my way into things. So, I felt definitely a lot more comfortable than I did a year ago. Just being able to know the guys, know the system, and have a plan and a process for, when things don't go right. So.
And DTR, with that being said, is it fair to say that the game is slowing down to a degree for you?
Yeah, you could say that for sure. I think, like I said, just being able to get out there, get my feet wet again, go through live reps in action because, I don't get as many at practice. So just be able to get my feet set early in the game, I think was the biggest thing I caught out of last week.
This offense, obviously, we've talked about some of the new wrinkles in here, and you go back to your days at UCLA in the shotgun, probably some RPOs. Is it nice to have some of those things now in this offense that you're very comfortable with? And so is, by the way, Deshaun, so is Jameis, and so is Snoop.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think this offense fits all the quarterbacks very well in the quarterback room, especially me and the offense I came from college. A lot of RPOs, a lot of modern-day football in this offense and spread. So I love it for sure,
Yeah.
And I know Deshaun loves it as well.
And DTR, speaking of the quarterback room, what's it like being the younger guy in the room with filled with veterans?
Yeah, it feels good. Feels great just to pick their brains every day, watch their mannerisms, how they carry themselves around the building, in the meeting rooms, on the practice field. Jameis is obviously a great example, as well as Deshaun, but I've been with him for over a year now, so I get to continue to be a sponge towards him. But really having Jameis and Tyler in there, two very different style players, but at the same time coming from two different experiences and, being able to share all that information with me, I think has been huge for me. So.
When you went back and watched the tape of the Green Bay game, what was the throw that you liked the most, and what's one that maybe you would do something differently after watching the tape?
Yeah. Let's see. I think the throw I would want back the most in that game, surprisingly, was the dime on the end cut. I think it was probably the second drive to Jamari.
Yeah.
Great catch. He definitely
throw.
pulled. Yeah, he pulled me out of a hole there. Should have took the guy underneath, but. Just being greedy on that play, but obviously it was a great throw, great play. So, and then probably the throw that I loved the most was probably the next in cut coming later in the game to James Prochet. Being able to look off the backer and then get backside was definitely sweet for me.
You widened them with your eyes and then snuck it in right behind him.
Yeah,
That
it was
good
definitely
stuff.
a sweet play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dorian, what's going through your mind? You're running on the sideline, defenders coming at you. Next thing you know, you go into Olympic hurdle mode. Is it just a natural reaction? Nothing you think about is just reacting to what you see coming your way?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of tools in my bag, I'd say. And so, when you got a lot of tools at them, you got to work at them. So I'd say I work on that in the off season. Not necessarily the timing of things, but just, being able to lift my feet up and get that type of motion going. So it's just second nature. But, it's all instincts. You finding ways between you and the defender to get the first down. You only need a yard, so I guess the best way was to go over him.
So much is made of these joint practices. It's kind of become, in many ways, I call it the Super Bowl of the preseason. And there's a lot of talk about it, a lot of eyes on it, a lot of things will be read into it, and a lot of comments will be made coming out of it. Yep. How has Coach Stefanski kind of stressed these joint practices with Minnesota to you guys, and what are really the goals of this football team?
Yeah, man, just to play clean, efficient football. Obviously, we're at practice. So you can't do a whole bunch of tackling and making plays and stuff like that. So just to be really clean on film when we get back in the meeting rooms and on walkthroughs and things like that. Like, these are the dog days of camp. So for us to be out here tired, both physically and mentally, being able to lock in on each and every play, and each play is a new play. I think coming in with that mindset is, I think, what we're going for. So.
And last week you had Detroit and you had the Giants practicing, and there was a lot of fisticuffs, if you will, taking place. Was there emphasis made by Coach Stefanski that we're here to practice, we're not here to fight, but we're here to get some work done?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's Stefanski's number one thing is he wants a smart football team. And obviously those things of fighting and taking away from the game are obviously dumb things and deteriorating from what we want to do, which is win the football game at the end of the day. So we're out here to work. We're not out here to go back and forth or bicker. We're out here to get our work done and like I said, play efficient and clean football. So.
How valuable is it to have a Minnesota team come in that's going to give you different looks, right? You're used to the four-man front, Green Bay four-man front. Now you're going to get kind of that 3-4 front that you'll see with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you'll see with the Ravens in our division. So is it valuable to kind of get that work against a different front and know, okay, well, maybe those guys are dropping here, and how some of the things that we're working on go against different fronts?
Yeah, like I said in the beginning of the offseason, this offense allows us to have a lot of different tools at the line of scrimmage, not only with the quarterbacks, but receivers, offensive line, running backs, tight ends. So guys got to be able to make different calls, both in the run game and in the pass game, see coverages differently, because like you said, they do a lot of disguising and stuff like that. So having your eyes up late at the snap, being able to see the rolls and things like that, stems at the front of the line, I think is going to all be huge for us come later down the line of the season for sure.
And DTR, with it being a joint practice, I know there are a couple guys that went to UCLA that are on their roster. Yep. Have any of them reached out to you? Have you had any conversations with any former teammates or Bruin alumni?
Not yet. I was waiting to get to the practice field. But yeah, I got a few guys over there. I was able to talk and chat with me and Cedric's old high school buddy, Jalen Naylor, who's a receiver over there. So, yep. So, yeah, I got to chop it up with him. We haven't spoken to him in probably a couple years now with just how our schedules have been so busy. But being able to chop it up with him the other night was pretty cool. So.
Must have been a pretty good high school team. I mean, come on, let's be serious. All right, one thing I'm always curious about, and reps are reps, and you get your reps. You got a lot of game reps, which was great to see. What's your mental process in, let's say, a series where you're only getting 1 or 2 reps, how you go through and still extract value from the reps even though you're not physically taking them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when you have to be your most perfect is when you don't get as many reps as some of the other guys. And so it really forces you to have to lock in and, like I said, take each play as its own new play, not get bored with doing the little things like the check downs, making the same calls, because you want to get greedy as soon as you get out there because you're like, I only have this amount of time or this amount of plays to be able to make something happen. But you just got to trust the process and make sure that you're going out there treating every play like it's its own. So.
And with the Vikings coming in, do you sense there's a heightened awareness amongst you and your teammates with what this represents, having a different jersey out there, different guys you're competing against, and what that represents?
I mean, yeah, for sure. We got a lot of guys on this team fighting for a spot.
Right,
so
yeah.
This is a perfect opportunity to show it outside of on Saturday when we get to play them. So just a lot of good, more reps, I'd say, to put on people's plate in front of some competition that you don't get to see every day. So.
DTR, always a pleasure talking with you. Loved what you put out there against Green Bay Packers. Excited to see more this weekend against the Vikings.
Yes, sir. Go Browns, baby.